Hello, Sense of Things audience. It's Jeff and Ron here once again with another episode of The Sense of Things. And on today's show, we're going to cover a little bit about debt, credit cards. We're also going to get into a little bit of the economic calendar for the week and take a look at let's just say, the highly smart organization that is Moody's downgrading the U.S. government credit. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on in just 1 second. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Ron, how are you doing, bud?
Morning. Never a dull moment, as I like to say, with the market and news and everything else. We've had a hell of a run in the market over the last couple of weeks on nothing more than just headline rhetoric. There was some good earnings news in there, but for the most part, not much has changed and nothing has been signed. It's just all headline rhetoric. So
I think one deal has been signed so far, and that's it. And even that was okay.
yeah,
Really signed.
Britain and China hasn't been signed.
Well, Great Britain basically has. It's at least
they have a term of agreement. They don't have anything signed yet.
Yeah, and I think all of that stuff's going to take a while to get it all signed or whatever. But at least if you handshake it a little bit and they get some clarity, hopefully that'll be something that says, okay, this is a framework we can work from. I think China is going to be a whole different animal in and of itself.
I don't see that being done this year. I know other people, they're like, oh, you hate the administration. I'm like, no, it's being realistic. Come on. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's complicated as hell. And there's a lot of other hair on that deal with China just because of their perchance to like to steal things from other people.
I agree.
Well,
what do you got?
Let's kick us off. We have
an old story. What do you think?
Yeah, we're heading into the summer. So I felt like we hadn't visited our friends, the Florida men, in a while. So I figured we might want to kick off summer with a little Florida men. It's a little warm down there. So they tend to get a little goofier and crazier during the summertime. First one, Florida man gored by bison in Yellowstone National Park. Now, here's the funny part. Man allegedly kicked a bison and was attacked by the animal. He was charged with being under the influence of alcohol. Disorderly conduct, approaching wildlife, and disturbing wildlife. Yeah, you know what? You deserve to be gored if you kick a bison, you moron.
Hold on. Now, you know what? It's funny. 2 years ago when we started this, you'd never heard of Florida man, and I brought it up to you, and you're like obsessed with it. But I think every state should have a sign to say, if you're looking to perform a Florida man act, Florida man or Florida woman, because we've shared a few of those.
Yes, now we have.
You're not allowed in the state, and you're not allowed in state parks.
Please get out. Okay, so here's another. Naked Florida man prompts airport evacuation after claiming he planted a bomb.
Of course.
So I don't know.
Was there alcohol involved?
I don't know if there was alcohol involved here, but the best part is police use a taser on the naked man who prompted the evacuation. Why did you need to taser him is what I'm thinking.
If he had a weapon, he would have been able to see it.
I'm thinking he's probably not hiding a detonator on him at this point, but
we don't know that.
Don't know. So we just decided to taser the crap out of him, mainly because it was really funny to do in the middle of an airport.
Okay.
Wow. I love it. Okay. Florida man sentenced in egg smuggling case. So a Florida man has been sentenced to 21 months imprisonment for smuggling Australian cockatoo eggs into the United States. The Department of Justice announced today the eggs whose importation is prohibited under U.S. law were worth $603,000 for 21 eggs for cock-a-frickin-toos. Go to your local pet store. You can get a cock-a-frickin-too. Why do you need to bring eggs in? I don't get it.
Because it didn't cost him anything. He was going to sell them in the U.S.
There you go. Okay, so this one I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so I'm sitting here saying, okay, Florida man steals alligator from golf course. Okay, that makes sense. Tries to teach it a lesson by throwing it on the roof of a bar. Now, let's dig into the story a little bit more, and this will tell you how weird Florida can be. A Florida man told police officers he was teaching a lesson when he tried to throw a live alligator he had stolen from a miniature golf course
The headline.
onto, onto the roof of a beachside cocktail lounge. Okay, why do you need an alligator in a miniature golf course? I get it. It's maybe a hazard to play, but I got nothing.
It's almost like these stories are just made up. I mean,
Unfortunately, they're not. That's the problem.
my favorite story goes back to the one that I found that somebody goes into a thrift shop to buy a mask to go across the street and rob a gas station.
There
Now,
we go.
That you could make that up, but that could only be a Florida man.
But it can only be a Florida man story. Okay, so here, Florida man high on meth climbs onto stranger's roof to howl, deputies say. And I'm like, look at this creepy son of a you-know-what on top.
Oh, my God. He looks happy, though.
He looks very happy. He looks like he's ready to chew somebody's face off.
Well,
Okay.
he's not crystal meth. He might not have much of his teeth left.
That's true. Actually, he's got a pretty nice set of choppers for somebody on crystal meth. Just going.
User.
All right. Last but not least, Florida man drives stolen car into a ditch, has diaper-wearing monkey attached to him.
Well,
Deputies,
of course he would.
Deputies were here to say, is that a monkey in your pocket, or are you just happy to see us? Is all I can say.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. The only other couple of things I have, just taking a look at the Econoday calendar for the week. This is a little busy. It's got the whole thing up here. Really, the only things that are of any interest, I guess, this week, the petroleum status report. Yeah, nobody really cares. Jobless claims will come out. We'll see if the market gets spooked or whatever from that. Existing home sales, that always tells us where we're going. New home sales on Friday, and Jerome Powell speaks right before the weekend. So I do not put it past him to say something stupid that causes the market to go completely crazy right before the weekend, and we end up.
I disagree. I think people are anticipating something, but usually his speeches, for the most part, are just pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
And he just spoke, 2 weeks ago?
I know.
Last 2 weeks.
Why do you need to speak again? Okay, whatever. But it is a big week for Fed governors because there's a ton of them speaking over today.
Well, they need to get their speaking engagement money too.
Yeah, that's how they get paid. All right. So the geniuses with Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating this morning, brought to you by the organization that paid $835 million to settle their mess that they created during the 2000 to 2008 financial crisis. So does anybody listen? Who knows? The Treasury yield popped up a little bit, the 30-year above 5%. It's already down to 4.85 at this point.
The crazy thing, Jeff. They're late to the party.
Yeah,
It was
always
downgraded, I think, by S&P in 2011.
Yeah,
it's 14 years later. Why is this news?
Yeah, and the funny part is
they're all working with the same freaking data.
I know. And the thing I'm laughing is, okay, what happened over the last 4 years where we spent $7 trillion and we've still got the oldest air FAA system in the world at this point?
I've been hearing about that for 40 years.
Oh, I know. It's just like they don't want to. Yeah. Oh, we need to spend money on infrastructure. Then friggin' spend money on infrastructure.
I would consider air traffic control part of infrastructure.
I think that's like essential infrastructure at this point. So I'm hoping that the messes we've seen.
And I'm a mile and a half from a nice regional airport too.
Yeah, you were in Philly right close to all the mess up in Newark. And I think Philly was having issues last week too. So yeah, it's okay. Stop wasting money on stupid crap and spend money on things that save people's lives at this point. So that's all I had for the day.
I got you. All right. All right. So I got a couple of interesting things. I know it's going to kind of sound and look like the same old song.
Yeah, but the same old song hadn't been improving, though. That's the problem.
No, we keep talking about this for a while. Eventually, either part or all the dam will break. But JP Morgan has a lot of really good numbers on credit card. I have a Chase card. And I think this is interesting if you understand what this is trying to say here. And basically what they're saying is people are spending.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are still spending. You got your Chase credit card tracker and the consensus, but there is quite a bit of divergence here. I think the expectation was people would be spending less, and people, it's ticked up since October. So people are not spending less, then they're going to continue to spend until credit lines are seizing up.
Yeah.
Which is a segue in a couple of slides. But I thought it was interesting on where people were spending the money. Where were they not spending the money?
Okay.
Airlines. But I thought this
Okay.
was interesting because I really don't know what this gas line means. Let me explain. Does this mean that people were spending 10.9% less on gas? Or is this because gas prices have come
Have dropped?
that the
Yeah.
dollar amount is spent less? I don't
Yeah.
know what it's trying to say here.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is too on the airlines, I'm like, I mean, I've been watching the airline earnings. Now, you've got some weird anomalies there, like Southwest Airlines, which used to be like the king, you know what,
Yep.
has
Yep.
just gone to crap.
They're not
At this
making
point.
money. They
Yeah.
got to take care of shareholders.
Yeah. Okay. So they're not doing well, but you look at United, Delta, their numbers are actually still pretty outstanding. And I don't know what that spending less there is. Has the price come down? I don't know.
I don't know about you. This is not a recommendation, but I have never, let me repeat that, never recommended any auto stocks
Yep.
or airline stocks decline.
Yep.
Ever.
That is the
You
I
make
read a
money,
book
there
on
are other places to put your money other than airline and auto stocks.
I read a book about Warren Buffett because he's never written a book, but I've read books by that wrote
Walter
about him.
Isaacson book on him is fantastic.
And the funny thing in the book, he goes, he said he'd been known to say, "Hello, my name is Warren. I'm a reformed airline investor." After he lost so much money on U.S. Air and all that stuff in the past.
Talk
But
to
yeah, I mean,
Carl
I
Icahn
just
about,
don't get them.
TWA back in the early 80s.
I don't get airlines. I don't like to invest in them. I've never even done a sector fund of airlines. I just don't really like the industry. So
Now, it's pegged to oil. That's another one. Pegged to oil. Remember any of that energy stuff?
pegged to oil, it's heavily run by the unions. They're dragged around by their nose by the union.
And this is a good aggregate chart
Okay.
to just explain to people, why does the student loan look? This was
Yeah.
the forbearance
Yep.
of student loans for so many years.
Now finally we're
Now they
collecting.
have to pay.
Yep.
But also, folks, look at the credit card delinquency rate. This means that people aren't paying more than 30 days out. Credit cards are now spiking. Obviously, student loan would have to spike. What did people think here? They were never going to have to pay their student loan? That was just all BS political rhetoric.
Yep.
The president has ever said, we're going to forgive all loans. All Biden was trying to do was, I think it was, if you met certain criteria, I think it was up to 10,000. But most of these people had 30, 40, 50 plus $1,000 in student loan.
So it was just a drop in the bucket. And there are a ton of programs in the federal government to get forbearance or to get some of that removed from some of that debt removed. You just have to do the work to find those. And they were trying to like weasel around and show some of that stuff. And they were using some of that. But the problem is they made it see some of these were legitimate programs, but they just made it seem like it was a big political thing. And so then everybody got into the press and everything else. But there are multitudes. There's 72 different programs in the federal government where you can get your student loan debt reduced.
I think the one thing that's interesting looking this back, because this is going back 22 years. Look at the auto loan, the Army Green Line.
Yep.
It's been pretty much averaged 8%.
Yep.
22 years. That seems high. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's just like the average. It's not like spiking or whatever. It just averaged around 8%.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the credit card one's the one I have the most concern about because now you tack on the student loan part and you tack on people have been spending like crazy on their credit cards. That's not a good combination between those two. I would expect those both to start heading upwards.
Same demographic.
Yeah.
So then breaking it down a little further, okay? So this is now breaking down the total delinquency status. just look at the last couple of years.
Yep.
Obviously, this was coming out of the great financial crisis. That took a few years to obviously settle out. Yet came in, this was COVID, and coming out of COVID, the 30-day late, but look down here, severely derogatory. This is more than 120. This is more than 120. I think this is probably closer to 6 months or longer. And just look how bright these lines are getting here.
That's a pretty rapid move at one time. Yeah.
It's telling us a story. When does the dam break here? When the dam breaks, in my opinion, when unemployment gets to 5.5 to 6%.
Yep.
All these people that are delinquent, their assets are going to be seized.
Yeah. They're on the, what that tells me is you've had a lot of people that are on a bubble right now, that they are one paycheck away from going severely delinquent.
One paycheck away. These people are getting payday loans.
Oh, I know.
People are doing cash advances on their paychecks.
And you got so many of those. There's that one, what is it, Chime or whatever, that, oh, you can get your paycheck like a week in advance through us. But there's no cost at all. And I'm like, okay, how exactly does that work? I've not figured that out.
It's not a recommendation either way, but it's like that public company or firm. They'll pay later.
Yep.
At some point, who is their demographic on that? And at some point, that company is going to have some serious bad quarters.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Once again, it's okay. Put all the stuff, because they give credit really easily because they charge 30% or something like that on a lot of those, 26 to 30% on a lot of those little short-term loans or whatever. Yeah. It's eventually going to get there.
And here we are. Credit card balances. Quick, funny story. At the end of last year, Q4, we were talking about an article about how credit card companies and banks were either slowing down or not increasing credit limits. Rather ironically, I got a letter from my credit card company. I didn't request it, but they doubled my credit line. They didn't ask for it. I can go on a hell of a vacation around the world a few times. It would take me a while to pay that thing off, but here it is. I pay my balance off every month, so give me more money to spend.
Yep.
There are people that can't pay the balance off, and they're slowing it down.
Yeah, it makes sense, because they're like, okay, you have no risk, and maybe if we entice you a little bit, maybe you'll spend money on that big around the world trip, and we'll make some money on interest from you, because we don't make anything from you as it is.
Right, and here you can see credit card balances. That's the dark blue line. It's ticking up 1.2, 1.3 trillion. So we shall see where this thing goes. But you can see this is the balance versus the limit. So there's a lot more spending to happen here, whether they're going to pay it off or not.
Yeah, it's interesting. You look at the HELOCs, though, man, they are way lower than they've been, because you figure they were rising up right before the 2008 financial crisis, and then those balance or the limits got pushed down on a lot of those things, and they went out of favor. But it looks like they're moving slowly back up at this point, and it's a place that somebody may not have attacked. If they can't get credit on their credit cards, the next thing is going to be, let me get credit on my house.
Absolutely. Got a couple more here. So chicken and egg prices. So
which came first?
Down. And by the way, I don't know which came first. We talked.
Okay.
But you can see here, the eggs have come down in price.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I just bought a dozen eggs this weekend, and they said normally $7.99, but we have a sale for $5.99 if you use your store number. But
got it.
I didn't realize how cheap eggs were at one time.
Oh yeah.
And you can see where it's gone. And this is what, a 20-year chart.
And it's
heavy here.
Yeah. It's hilarious, because you look around the world, and we're not the only people who have bird flu in our chicken populations. But for some idiotic reason, we're just culling like millions of chickens for no reason at all. Canada doesn't do it. Mexico doesn't do it. Brazil doesn't.
We had the bird flu. That was short-lived, and that was just an excuse to raise prices. But overall, I don't see it. I don't see what it is. I think it's just, you know what, they feel all the consumer accepted it, so we'll just continue to charge
Yeah.
it.
And yeah, we keep it up there, and at least they're coming down somewhat. The administration's done some crazy stuff, like importing eggs and all that, to the point where, okay, hopefully it's coming down, but it just doesn't it seems like it's persistently staying higher. And
Yes.
I wonder if that's not just the egg producers going, we'll come down a little bit, but still we can keep them a little higher up there. But yeah, I remember
Absolutely.
yeah, we typically buy like organic free range stuff. And,
Yeah.
those were $4.99, maybe 5. And they got to the point where they're almost 10. And they've come back down to maybe $7 at this point. So
I hear you. So that's what I got.
beautiful.
See what happens next week. I'll try to have something fun. I just
Yeah.
have a fun time.
Yep, and we're going into a holiday weekend, so probably not a whole lot of stuff going on in the world, which is probably a good thing. We'll agree to disagree on Chairman Powell, so we'll see what he does on Friday for the holiday weekend. But
He's going to say something.
all I know, he never fails. Definitely says stuff, or he doesn't say stuff. He just babbles for 20 minutes and doesn't say anything.
He's not as bad as Greaves.
Oh God,
Bad as Greaves.
no.
Bernanke wasn't so much better because he was an academic. Yellen wasn't great because she was an academic. Powell, as far as I know, is the only one that hasn't been an academic in 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he actually had some experience on Wall Street and everything
Goldman
else.
Sachs,
So,
I think.
yeah.
Or as they
Yeah.
like to say, government Sachs.
Yeah. Whatever. Golden flax. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us again. You guys have a happy Memorial Day weekend, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good week, and we'll see you then.